Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us here on this wonderful Wednesday edition of Talk Today. We have the privilege, the honor, and the distinct pleasure of being able to start things off with our good friends from UCCI, including Mr. Roy Borden and Dr. Susan Young. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, an opportunity to welcome to our studio, hopefully, Mr. Roy Borden, as, I don't want to say retirement looms, but as you may find a little bit more time on your hands, you can come and share with us over the next year, decade, hey, hopefully, century even, benefit from your counsel and your company. And I took some time over the last couple of weeks, and I was, rereading some of the, presumably, the things that we consider to be the classics in literature and the like. And I think you would rank among those, your scribes and the like. So, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here once again. Thank heavens.
Amen, man. And I say that because I was reflecting, if you would allow me, I was reflecting on many of our conversations in the past, publicly and privately, where you share that there are many things that sort of define a person, but the person's ethos and integrity above all. And the intellect isn't just measured by whatever academic qualifications, but the ability to have a meaningful, respectful conversation with any and everyone, seeing the perspective, offering up an informed position, but leaving with a view that, hey, I can learn and I can also continue to contribute. That pursuit is something that motivates us. From your perspective now, as we look forward, and certainly looking at where UCCI is, I think we see a society that's starting to understand why your forefathers sacrificed so much, not just to build the physical and financial economy, but to instill in its people that need to always seek excellence.
That is exactly so. And I said in my farewell address that the University College must be to the Cayman Islands what Napoleon, that father of military genius, said the conscript army was to France, the vitality of the nation. So UCCI must be the vitality of Caymanian society. It must be the soul and conscience of that society. It must be an institution which sets itself up as a paragon of virtue, of fairness, of inclusiveness, and creating an ethos of respect for everyone, irrespective of their position in society, from the humblest to the most sophisticated.
That's the thing, and as we equally include Dr. Susan Young, this notion that we're looking at, if I may say with great deference to Mr. Roy, this upcoming generation that seen education, they want to pursue tertiary studies. Many, I think perhaps unprecedented today, many of our people now are looking at not just multiple masters, but postgraduate studies, their doctoral studies. Many are looking at how they can maybe look at research and apply it to Cayman, how they can take those formative years here and perhaps excel on a global scale. Not unlike what our seafarers did way back in the day. It wasn't academics in the classroom necessarily, but it was still a prowess to excellence. From your perspective as an instructor, lecturer, and academic as well, has been encouraging.
Well, I think Caymanian society has so much to offer, and it's such a diverse society with different points of view and thought that there are many issues here that can be looked at from a global perspective, and I will touch on the writings of President Roy Bodden. One of our lecturers, Dr. Stephanie Cooper Fullerton, presented in Costa Rica about a month ago on his writings and his contribution to Caymanian literature. So it's something that's not just relevant to Cayman, but it's an area that other scholars elsewhere are interested in. So there are many things here that we may say Caymanian, but they're very pertinent elsewhere and valued elsewhere.
Something that, if you love me, Mr. Bourne, just briefly to ask. We see the scriptures, it talks about it. It says, a prophet is not without honor save in his own country. We think to the song that asks, where are your heroes, West Indies? We see our students globally being able to very quickly recall historical accounts from different parts of the world, different eras in history. And even as a collective, the West Indies as we know it, whether it's the poet laureates, whether it's the in the performing arts, the musicians, it doesn't matter. There is great talent, but yet it isn't celebrated. And we were even to look at it on a perhaps even more of a micro level in Cayman. We don't honor, celebrate, respect, and sometimes even help to promote within our own people. But yet they can go afield and be referenced. They can go afield and have success. And
well, as far as I'm concerned, I am in no way miffed by that or don't consider that an insult, because as a cultural historian, I can tell you that much of our past was conditioned by the fact that we had no written record, no written history. Our culture was primarily an oral culture. So, in my case, I grew up among what I call the griots and the storytellers of Bodden Town. And that's where I got my inspiration. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to memorialize them. And I wanted to leave their legacy by writing some of the stories that I listened to them tell orally, because we were not a written culture, but that doesn't mean to say that our people weren't smart. So that I'm happy that now we are generating more of an interest in that. You see, years ago, generations ago, when we were a frontier society, very rudimentary, we had other more important things to think about than to talk about appreciation of literature. It was survival. It was literalist, hand-to-mouth, day-to-day survival. Because remember now, we didn't have the kind of society that other societies are today. North America, European, even some places in the Caribbean. We made a quantum leap a little more than 50 years ago. From the age of sailing, boom, straight into the age of steam navigation. From navigating by by a sextant, right into GPS. So all that time in between, we didn't have time to. There was no time to go and say, well, we left off from here. Let's go back to ABC. No, so we're on a treadmill now. The treadmill is modernity. And a lot of people don't know, but this is a story for another day, but it gives us an opportunity to segue into what we want to segue into, prior learning assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Many people don't understand. And we talk about expatriates taking over. But you know where the phenomenon of globalization began in Cayman, that really opened the doors and exposed us to other people coming in? Our seamen. When our seamen went away and worked on these behemoths, they attracted attention. Who are these people? Caymanians, we never heard of them. And these people are in charge of these multi-million-dollar megatonnage vessels carrying sometimes dangerous cargoes. And they're doing it safely. And that, in the 50s, opened us up. We got to come and see this place called Cayman. The remittances that they sent back. So much so that we developed at such a rapid rate that we didn't have any chance to prepare our people educationally. So all of a sudden, boom! We're in the 20th century, and you're going to have all these skills. And then computers came along. And it was primarily the women who distinguished themselves in the workforce as clerks, as office managers, and as secretaries.
You see, in that level of administration and organization, that manager of discipline and structure, and as you shared, it may be a story for another time, but it's hopefully, and I'll share this publicly, it's an invitation we want to extend to you to be able to have that, to have our people starting to think and to talk and to gain a perspective but an understanding of our historical record so that we can see what our vision for the future should look like. We look through our history and we stumble upon words referring to Caymanians as Caymanders, right? And whether it's the construction of the railroad on the Florida, or whether it's the acumen that was exhibited and recognized and documented, somehow we here, unaware of it or unwilling to publicize it, that talked about, just like the seafarers, the decades ago, demonstrated, a central prayer was evident in our people. It has to be, reminded, but it also has to be, something that we take and continue to strive for. Now, when we come back from the break, you talk about, prior learning assessment. Dr. Young, maybe you can help us to understand it and get within our own people this notion that, and I credit my mother, parents generally, but my mother specifically, for instilling. She never used the phrase, a lifelong learner, but by example. And she always points to her head, whether it's the great-grandchildren and otherwise. Once you get it there, nobody can take it from you. That view that you have to continually, upskill yourself. You could be, a white-collar worker, that's the label we utilize, but your job isn't safe. Your grandfathers might have been working for the same, automotive company that you're now working with, but yet your job is the skill set that is important. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You're invited to call and share your thoughts with us, learn, listen. Hey, if you don't laugh in a day, I don't know, maybe you didn't have good medicine. Laughter, they say, is good for the soul. So we want to involve you and ask you to be a part of our discussion. When we come back, we continue having a good conversation about all the great things over at UCCI. 1 o'clock, Celebrate Cayman. My good friend, Mr. Alfonso, shall join us. And then 1:30, schedule tells us we'll be talking to our friends over at the National Gallery. Hey, I want to know what's going to happen, so I invite you to stay tuned.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Research shows that domestic violence increases during the holidays. Financial pressures, family pressures, work pressures, all of these play a part. So don't let the pressures of life take over. Choose to diffuse the spousal arguments before they begin. Most people experience their greatest anger when they feel dismissed, ignored, or misunderstood. Many people instinctively avoid naming their fears, and it's all too easy to mistake sadness and fear for anger. So if you feel like you're heading for an argument, or you find yourself getting angry, stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I reacting to a feeling of loss? Telling someone else what you're sad about or afraid of means that you're willing to let down your guard and be honest. And you know, they may react by doing the same. A quote from ahealthyplace.com says this: "Remember, from every wound there is a scar, and every scar tells a story. A story that says, I have survived. Turn your wounds into wisdom."
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
It's more than what we do. It's who we are. We were your official bank of the quincentennial celebrations in 2003. We were your Bank of the Year 4 times. We were voted as the inaugural top employer in 2010. We were the inaugural Business of the Year awardee in 2017. Who are we? We are Cayman National, your local bank, proudly serving you for over 40 years. It's because of you that our journey continues.
Give me the green light.
The Proud of Them Youth Recognition Program is accepting nominations, and the nomination period has been extended until December 12th due to a technical difficulty with the online nomination form. Now in its 10th round, the award recognizes 12 outstanding young people between the ages of 10 and 25 for their achievements in academics, careers, business, sports, culture, or community work. Nominate your choice for the prestigious Proud of Them Award by visiting www.gov.ky. Remember, the deadline has been extended and submissions must now be received by Wednesday, December 12th. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Education, Sports, Agriculture and Lands in partnership with the National Youth Commission.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And in the studio, Mr. Roy Borden, together with Dr. Susan Young. And, when we're looking at education, I think, Mr. Borden, sometimes people may not quite appreciate that knowledge is a pursuit over a lifetime. It's not just about that thing that you have that you can show to a prospective employer or what have you. And many times, respectfully, Dr. Young, people get to a stage because of family, maybe they're within their own careers, and they look at themselves and say, well, it's not really that much further to the top I can go anyway, or what's the point, or even how I'm going to be able to do it, and the opportunities. But I'm very excited that UCCI has put something together that gives us that opportunity to not just upskill, not just become a little bit more sort of confident and convicted in their own abilities, but satisfy sometimes that thing that we wanted to do way back then. As an example, I remember in university, there was a lady, and she said she she won't be that long before she's 100. And she wanted to go to university. She had started. Then World War II broke out. And like many women of her day, went into the factories and were doing the things that supported the troops, I guess. And, came back, got married, had children, grandchildren. And now, 1,000 years later, this is what she shared. It feels like she was able to go back to university. And it wasn't because she was applying for a job. It was something she wanted to do, and she had the opportunity.
She wanted a bit of validation.
Perhaps, yes. She wanted to fulfill that thing that she had, 50, 70, 100 years earlier, whatever it was. It was so inspiring. And to see her come to class every day and to balance now. Yes, she was, a few decades on, but she still had an engaged, active life.
Some people have just this natural thirst for knowledge, and once obstacles are out of their way, then the sky's the limit. Mm-hmm. And what we want to offer at UCCI with the Prior Learning Assessment Program, it's to acknowledge that people have acquired knowledge as they've gone through their life experiences, their work experiences. And this is a tool to help individuals move through the academic process. We acknowledge, again, work, life, children, even in today's society, we're looking after not just children, but also our parents, extended family members. And along the way, you acquire certain level of competence and knowledge in certain areas. And, this is a way to acknowledge the college level learning and to kind of help accelerate people through the process.
And that's the thing. When we look at mentors, for instance, sometimes we reach out to people that have life skills, have an experience, not just an expertise, but an experience. And I'm thinking, as Dr. Young is sharing, those individuals now in their workplace, whether they're retired, semi-retired, whether they're maybe looking at their career and say, well, according to retirement age, now that we formalize, I want to have X years. But as Dr. Young says, this isn't just about that validation of that credential. And this is about them, because even when you're 70, 80, 90, God's willing, with health, you can still do for yourself and still make an invaluable contribution.
Right. So we at UCCI recognized that there's a pool of such persons, the adult learner, it's called in educational circles out there, who could benefit from exposure to these kinds of things. So in our investigations, we came up with this program, Prior Learning Assessment. And by the way, it's not new. It's been around for decades. So we're not inventing in a wheel. And the thing about it is it's properly accredited. So we want to offer this to the adult learner in Caymanian society. And at its basic, what it does is, which is how it gets the name Prior Learning Assessment, it attempts to assess their college level knowledge. Because if you've been in a job for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there must be something that you know about what you do in that position that we can equate to college level credits. So we take that, we put it on a scale and said, on this scale, here is what we think your college level knowledge and the experience you've acquired of all these is worth, vis-a-vis what a degree associates or bachelor's would be. So if you're interested in attaining this credential, you'd have to take courses that would allow you to acquire these 15 or 20 or whatever number of credits you have in order to be awarded this.
And as you shared, this is not reinventing the wheel. The other established reputable universities globally employ the same strategy. But as you were sharing, I was thinking back. You mentioned about the ladies, the mothers, the sisters that were left, behind as their, husbands and fathers, and were traveling the world, sailing those vessels. under very dangerous conditions at times. But when they were in the workplace and the financial sector was taking off, and here are these ladies with the competencies, they didn't have that piece of paper that said, they went to some university and had some qualification, but they had the knowledge, the competence. They were very, very credible, respected, and also very trusted because they were doing all these things. But as we formalize it now, perhaps this being available then may not have caused them to be so displaced as they are now. The people in the workplace can take advantage of this opportunity and give them that level of, sort of respectability that they deserve.
Well, this program helps to, again, what I should say is we live in a very competitive market. Everyone who comes here, they may come short-term, long-term, people want to live in Cayman. And so we are competing not just among ourselves as Caymanian, but we're competing with the rest of the world. And the dynamics of the working world are changing globally. And this is, 20 years ago you didn't need credentials. Now more and more companies want you to have the credentials.
That's it. More and more companies. That almost that thing where you talked about, Mr. Borden, that transition where we've gone from, in less than 50 years, we've moved what may have taken centuries for some societies
we made a quantum leap.
Yeah, I like the word you use.
I say we made a quantum leap.
And part of that is that, do you have this? We may have, on a very individual basis, we may have some sort of financial instrument, life insurance or what have you. But not only is that institution, the bank, the insurance company dealing with, but the overarching regulatory body may now reach out to you, through your entity and say, hey, can you now supply this thing? Because globally we're required to have whatever this thing is, right?
Sure.
In the past, it was just you and the entity. And people say, well, is that intrusion? Maybe, maybe not. But it's par for the course.
Yeah.
So
and we recognize that at UCCI, and that's the reason why we said, because I think we do very well with the traditional student, those coming out of high school. But, as the senior administrators and decision makers at that level at UCCI, we realize that we can be more effective, more comprehensive, cater to more comprehensively to learners in the Cayman society. And so this initiative, of which we had the soft launch on last Thursday, the 29th of November, is the initiative we say because we want to woo the adult learner, and it has some benefits for the adult learner because we're going to be flexible to arrange it at a time that's convenient to them, and we recognize all the intricacies and all the concerns that the adult learner will have. Many adult learners don't want to be in the classrooms with younger persons. Mothers don't necessarily want to go in a classroom with their daughters or their granddaughters. So it's not going to be that kind of stuff, because you have to realize that most of the people that we're catering to in this prior learning assessment initiative will have left formal education some years ago. Some of them may have had associate degrees. Some of them may even have bachelor's degrees. So they don't necessarily want to. They don't feel comfortable. I don't know if I would feel comfortable in a class of 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. When I'm a mature adult. There's a kind of intimidating fact. That's all right when you're the lecturer or the professor and the head and in charge, but to sit with them as a peer, wow. So we took these kinds of things into consideration. Right. And so this is why I think this is attractive. We think this is attractive and appealing. And as Dr. Young will attest, the other good thing about it is you can pick the speed at which you wish to learn.
Well, when we come back from the break, as we run up our discussion, Dr. Young, could we ask of you expound further on what Mr. Borden was sharing, and not only speak to the people who will attract and how the class would set, but give us a sense of, I don't want to say comfort, but I think Mr. Borden is salient again when he shares that, you're 40, 50, 60 in the classrooms, 18, 19, 20-year-old. You're doing math, or you're doing literature, whatever it is you're doing. There may be some opportunities, but then there's some perhaps unsettling, little niggling things. Could we ask about that when we come back?
That's fine.
All right. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Research shows that domestic violence increases during the holidays. Financial pressures, family pressures, work pressures, all of these play a part. So don't let the pressures of life take over. Choose to diffuse the spousal arguments before they begin. Most people experience their greatest anger when they feel dismissed, ignored, or misunderstood. Many people instinctively avoid naming their fears, and it's all too easy to mistake sadness and fear for anger. So if you feel like you're heading for an argument, or you find yourself getting angry, stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I reacting to a feeling of loss? Telling someone else what you're sad about or afraid of means that you're willing to let down your guard and be honest. And they may react by doing the same. A quote from ahealthyplace.com says this: "Remember, from every wound there is a scar, and every scar tells a story. A story that says, I have survived. Turn your wounds into wisdom."
The Stop the Slap campaign, proudly sponsored by Foster's IGA. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
Who's the leader in savings?
It's Foster's. When it comes to cooking for Christmas parties and baking sweet treats for the kids, there are some people who just get it and some people who just get lost. For those who get lost, let Tanya's Kitchen and Foster's IGA help. Tanya's deliciously easy recipes will wow your guests and leave you as famous as that one reindeer. Visit tanyaskitchen.ky for tons of delicious Christmas recipes and treats. And stop by your local Foster's IGA for all of the ingredients.
At Foster's Food Fair IGA, we care.
I am worried about my employees' health insurance. Are there any companies out there that I can rely on for great coverage, affordable payments, and who will work to make the switch as easy as possible? Or am I asking for too much?
You sound like you need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
This is too important. Today's the day I am switching to Fidelity Health.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And in the studio, Mr. Roy Borden together with Dr. Susan Young. And, the idea that education is this pursuit, lifelong, sort of passion. And the fact now that within our own communities, our people are being given the opportunity that many, not just in the more developed world, that they have for their own citizens. Whether, as Mr. Borden was sharing, whether you have an associate or a bachelor's and you're at a certain age and stage in your lives and you want to continue, there's something about being in a sort of formalized learning environment. Not the pressures of the homework and the assignments necessarily, but that interaction and engagement that you get between the different players, the students, the instructor and the like. And I like it. It teaches us.
Well, if you actually talk to a lot of the lecturers at UCCI, we already offer classes in the evening time. And many of them will admit that the more mature students bring such a richness to the discussions in class, and they bring a lot of insight and experience. And a lot of them do enjoy just lecturing or teaching. I shouldn't even say teach, just having adult learners in the classroom, because, the first time I stepped into a university classroom, I was 26. And the majority of the students in the class were older than myself. And I went with the approach that I am not here to teach you anything, that I'm not an expert in certain things. I'm here to facilitate learning, but I'm also here to learn from you. Because at the time I recognized that, yes, even though I had the credentials, I didn't have the experience. And so it was trying to get the students to share their experience to also enhance the learning experience.
So for that prospective student now that is going to be looking at this and say, I want this thing for different reasons, how would they go about it? I mean, there's always a cost, not just a financial, but there's a time and scheduling. There is going to be a requirement to do certain things. What's that look like? Give us a
Well,
view.
The first requirement will be to actually apply to UCCI. So we actually want you to submit an application to the university college, and from there we can then start advising, do one-on-one advising with the individual to determine what's the best pathway for them to follow. Do they want to pursue something in business versus social science? I mean, we have a lot of historians on the island, and so a business path might not be the best pathway for them. And they would meet with an advisor, and we would determine, well, what classes do they need to do versus, all right, based on their experience, their knowledge, what method of prior learning assessment can we bring in and utilize to offer them credit.
All right, help us, and hopefully, I believe for some people, the more sort of information they have, the better and informed the decision. But for some, they're thinking, well, does this mean now that I'm going to be in the classroom, this many hours every day, and I got math homework, and I got to do this? Because there is a preconceived notion of what being in school is like, whether it's, the first day of kindergarten, or it's your final year, final exams, or your, master's thesis, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, that's hard to determine until we actually see them, until we can talk with them, until, we can learn more about their background and their experience. There are individuals who have worked with certain companies for many years. They've worked their way up. They're accounts officers or, doing high-level accounting. I wouldn't necessarily put that person to do a basic math course or a basic accounting course. And so, again, we wouldn't be able to determine that just from an admissions application. We want you to come in. We want to talk with you, and that way we can best determine the pathway.
I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think too many of us, we get put off by what we perceive to be the process, and sometimes it's informed because maybe we've gone through it with our own children or with others, and we know that you graduate high school shortly, you're going to be having to go through this, and fair enough. But what I'm hearing you saying is that person is a different category altogether. You've done all that 30 years ago or however. You now have an experience and expertise that you don't necessarily know the true value of that. How can we convert that into something that gives you that little freedom?
And I realize, Sterling, that many individuals don't realize how much knowledge they have, how much knowledge they've acquired. One lady said to me, she's like, Dr. Young, I don't know how prior learning assessment will apply to me. She's been in this particular job for 19 years. And just talking with her, I said, well, what are the other things that you've done? And then she started to share with me the things that she's done with another organization, and said, well, these are things that we can use. And so until we have that one-on-one dialogue, can we truly show an individual, the scope and breadth of the knowledge they've acquired.
And as I listened to you, I reflect on a conversation some time back with a seafarer. She's there. He leaves and he takes the first job, and it's the simplest, and as he says, on the rung, probably down way at the bottom. But over time, over a passion and a desire, he's demonstrating that not only do I like this thing, but I'm good at it. So as he gets more and more, opportunities, he gets more and more, sort of progression. And eventually, when he finishes his career, what may have been a messman is now an engineer or a captain. Yes, there's some paperwork to do and some tests to take, but it's that experience and expertise, right? I believe Susan shares with us a couple of calls online. Why don't we take them in the studio? Mr. Roy Borden, Dr. Susan Young. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Dwayne.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to Dr. Roy and to Young, is it?
Yes, sir.
Young. Wonderful to hear you on there, Dr. Roy. And I just wanted to say that today is 187 years since they had that famous meeting at the old St. James House, which we call the Cathedral Castle, and made the decision to have the first election here. And then the elections were held on the 10th, 5 days later. I noticed that the Cayman Compass often has some things about what happens in the particular month that we are in. But it doesn't seem to mention many of the important incidents or any sometimes that happens in Cayman. And I noticed there's a dearth of knowledge of our history, important parts of our history, even in the schools. And that is so important, that decision to have the first elections, a brave and bold decision it was. And then the 10th, they had their elections. I just wondered if they might mention something in the newspapers this time. They didn't mention that on the 8th of November, 1932, was 86 years, I think, since that. But they mentioned other things that took place in November also. And I just wonder why these things aren't important to those who come and live amongst us. The 86-year stating hurricane hit Cayman back. 112 souls were lost in that hurricane there, and others out to sea also. So I just thought I'd mention those things because those two incidents, the 5th and the 10th of December in the old St. James House, we call it the Cathedral Castle, took place and helped to form our first elected part of government.
Yes, sir.
And set us on a road to a type of democracy. And the government that was formed there for quite a while was the only time we were ever under any type of self-govern and self-rule thing from those 1831 and actually till 1898 when they sent the first British governor down here was the only time we were really under a type of self-rule and self-govern system, the bicameral two-house system, but two-chamber system. But thank you. I just thought I'd mention that and listen on. Wonderful of your service to this country, Dr. Roy, and wonderful this program you're doing. Thank you. God bless. Have a wonderful day.
Hey, thank you very much, sir. And just quickly take the call. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, Mom. How are you?
I am very thankful and highly blessed. Amen. And it's good to have you back, too.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Good afternoon. I know he don't like to say doctor, but the Honorable J.A. Roy Borden, the president there. Do you recognize his voice, sir?
Good afternoon. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And yes, good afternoon to Dr. Young.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Now, Mr. I'm going to call you Mr. No Borden now.
That's the safest.
Listen, no, good to me now. I know you're smiling too. I have been contemplating on what your reaction would have been when you looked into your little gift that I gave you.
I'll tell you about that when I see you in person. So I thought you were going to tell me that you want to sign up for the prior learning assessment program. That, too, would make me feel good. I'll tell you about my reaction to the gift when I see you in person. But I want to know, I expect you to be one of the persons that come forward to be interested in this prior learning assessment initiative, because, you know, you and I always talk about the need to fortify, to improve, to credentialize. So have you given some serious thought about it?
I was going to say this to you next, that even though I weren't there last Thursday, because I could not make it then, but I am going to do, as you told me when I spoke with you briefly about that, after all of that was finished up there, that I really gave you a good hug. Remember?
I remember that. So here's what I want to tell you now, and I'll let her tell you herself. Dr. Young is expecting you. She's holding you to the fact that you are going to come to inquire and to get information about this program. I won't necessarily be there, but she will be expecting you. And if you doubt me, she's right on the other side of the microphone. She can assure you herself that she's waiting for you.
I will soon be there.
You'll soon be there.
I'll be there waiting.
I will be there.
Yes, well.
God willing. God willing, I will be there pretty soon.
Okay.
Right?
Did you hear? Did you hear what she said? She said she'll be there waiting for you.
Yes. Well, thanks very much, Mom. And this is, you know, where an example like individuals like her has that acumen and also that interest. Now, as we go forward, invite you all come back on, both in your personal capacity as a Borden, but equally Dr. Young, to talk about UCCI. In closing, Dr. Young, any final thoughts, and then Mr. Borden?
Well, you know, don't just to those individuals who are, you know, they want to, just apply.
And then once they make that application, you know what I mean? But Dr. Borden,
if there's anyone who missed the soft launch, we can say to you that you can find out more information if you're tech savvy at events@ucci.edu.ky, or between now and we close on December the 18th, you can come into the university and inquire. We are going to begin work in January, God willing, when we return, because the program is scheduled to be launched in the fall term, August of 2018. And I want to say something before I close, Sterling, about many people are money conscious. We are determined to set the fees at affordable rates.
Mr. Borden, thank you very much. And we're going to continue to help that. And as you said, it's next fall term that we'll start, but put work together now so that the people can start to be sort of prepared. Thanks very much, and congrats again. Many of us, not just respect and admire you, but I look forward to your continued contribution, and Dr. Young equally, as you come back and share with us some more. Thanks so much, Val.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for having us.
All right. We'll pause and take a break. When we come back, please join us after.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A 42-year-old Georgetown man has been formally charged with attempted theft and criminal trespass. Police say on Sunday, December 2nd, the man entered private property on Parkside Close off West Bay Road and tried to break into the vehicles parked there. He was due to appear in court this morning. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, a Spanish court's controversial decision to clear 5 men of gang rape has been upheld by 5 appeal judges, and the group are now set to go to jail for a lesser offense of sexual abuse. There were protests across Spain when the men who became known as the Wolf Pack were acquitted of rape and then later freed on bail. The appeal judges agreed that the 18-year-old victim was not assaulted, as no intimidation or violence was involved. And Kevin Hart has said hosting the Oscars was a goal on his list for a long time, as he confirmed he is fronting 2019's star-studded ceremony. Describing it as the opportunity of a lifetime for him as a comedian, he said, "My mom is smiling from ear to ear right now." He is following on from Jimmy Kimmel, who hosted both last year and also for 2017's infamous Envelope Gate. The Jumanji star, Hart, said he will rise to the occasion. And that's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For more than 30 years, Rotary Central has worked along with our business community, business advisors, media, and schools, introducing over 500 students annually to the universe of business. Students are guided to create, operate, and deliver products to market. Today, thousands of Caymanian business professionals point to junior achievement as their introduction to business. When you support Rotary Central fundraisers like the Music Extravaganza, you support Cayman's next generation of business professionals. High schoolers learn human resources, sales, marketing, accounting, compliance, legal skills, manufacturing. Cayman's next generation business professionals find purpose and get inspiration through Rotary Central Junior Achievement programs. Junior Achievement, another inspiration project by Rotary Central.
Did you get your dad a gift?
Get who?
Christmas shopping's gonna drive me insane.
Come on. Want to get your Christmas shopping on a roll?
Join us on Uflex for our Christmas finale.
We will sit down with Junior Achievement to talk about their JE.
Christmas Market.
Tune in to Youthflex this Wednesday on 89.9 FM at 4 to 5 p.m. to celebrate the season with Junior Achievement as we plan our shopping spree at the JA Christmas Market.
Business owners and marketing managers, did you know that during the holidays, 1 in every 3 persons in Cayman search findyellow.com? Get more visibility for your business with Yellow's special Christmas advertising package. Contact our advertising consultants at 949-7027 or visit findyellow.com to find out more. Yellow, we know Cayman.
Stay connected and enjoy your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Make Christmas memories great with the best phones at amazing holiday prices. Get the Samsung Galaxy A8 from $43.25 a month or the S9 from $70.75 a month from Flow. Sign up for Flow Quad Play to share up to 50 gigs of data and 5,000 calling minutes. It's amazing value and great gifts for loved ones or yourself. Plus, plenty of chances to win Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us in the studio, Mr. Alfonso Wright, Ms. Cara Cole, as we talk to you, more about continuing and celebrate Cayman initiatives. And Ms. Alfonso, I hope I get to spend some time with you over the Christmas. But blessings and merriment to you and all who, sort of have the great pleasure of being in your company.
You'll see me if you if you have food.
See, that's what
other than that, I'm not so sure.
There you go. So I probably will see him then. Eh?
Okay.
And to you, Ms. Cara, equally. I was sitting there thinking, I know you guys are coming in, but there's something special about not just the Celebrate Cayman team that you guys have, but the two of you in particular. Your great skills at your design, and then Mr. Alfonso's administrative, his eloquence, encouraging and motivating people. His passion and enthusiasm, It's incredible. You guys make a great team.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure working with him, and we still got a ways to go. So hopefully we'll be able to work together that long.
Well, we're excited. I mean, it's somewhat of a 2-year initiative.
Yeah.
And Mr. Alfonso, as we not only inform the people about what is sort of unfolding, but we invite them, and hopefully they'll feel included and want to get involved.
Well, that's been the case, Dwayne, to be honest with you. People are engaged and talking about Celebrate Cayman. People are advising. People are making suggestions. They're calling up and asking questions, and that's what this is all about. It's a period of education. And while we're doing some educating, we're learning things ourselves. So it works both ways. But it is quite clear that the public in general are eager, hungry for things like the coat of arms history and things Caymanian, and people are participating, and that is refreshing.
I think
and welcomed.
It gives us an opportunity. I mean, as Mr. Borden just shared earlier, the idea that he reminds us our history is primarily oral. Okay, over the last few decades in particular, there have been some, recordings in different facets, but we have an incredible history, a rich history. There's so much. The caller prior talked about, when we look at, politically speaking, the physical presence of the Peter St. James, but the occurrence, for me, December 10th isn't just a special day because of, what it means in terms of birthdays, but what I'm reminded of in terms of our political history. And yet, how many of us talk about it? How is it in our schools? And maybe more so when we come down to our first constitutional coat of arms, the petition by our women to get suffrage and the like. Is it that we're not mindful of it, or is it that we are, but we don't truly appreciate the significance?
Probably some of both.
Possibly.
In many instances, there are people that have not been exposed to our history. Then there are those that if you talk to them about it, they'll say, yeah, I remember. But it's not something that it's on the tip of our tongue that we talk about on a regular basis. And world is a lot different now. We get caught up in other things. The urgent things take over from the important things, kind of thing. But I think as a country, it is our responsibility, those of us who know better, should do better. And I believe that Celebrate Cayman has gone a long way in reviving that enthusiasm, that overarching interest in who we are, where we came from. The coat of arms story is an extremely beautiful one, and it's engendering national pride. It's encouraging people to talk and to ask questions about us, about, like I said, who we are and where we came from. And we're doing that through a lot of different avenues. We've had our launch on the 4th of June. We've had our summer festival on the 21st, 23rd of June. I can't remember now which one. But we've had our traveling display that's been going throughout all the districts right now, Dwayne, and this is no fault of yours, but West Bay is the last district for us to get to, and that's not because of you.
I thought you were saving the best for last.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's too late now.
But we started in East End. We went to Northside. It's been to Cayman Bracken, Little Cayman. Yep. We just finished in Bordentown, and we're now in Georgetown. And one of the things that we're here to talk about today is the opening of our exhibit at the National Museum. That we kind of want to, let the public know about that, and a few other things that's happening with us right now. If you can go right.
Yes,
sir.
Sir.
Okay. Well, the museum are feverishly working to put the finishing touches on the coat of arms display, an exhibition that'll be there for a couple of months. We know this particular celebration ends in May of next year, and we have had the pleasure and privilege of working very closely with Miss Deborah Barnes-Tabora, who is the curator at the museum. And she is the individual who curated the traveling display. And incidentally, right now, the traveling display is now set up in the foyer at the Government Administration Building. So from 8:30 to 5, people can go in there and view that. Need to get that word out there that I know a lot of people visit the building on a daily basis. When you come in the foyer, just turn to your left, go all the way down to the end, and the coat of arms display is right there, all set up. In addition to that now, on the 15th of this month, the exhibition officially opens at the National Museum. A wonderful curation again, but this is to top them all off. This is the exhibition of exhibitions that's going to be there at the museum. We have a ceremony that will be held at 10 in the morning on the 15th, that's a Saturday. We'll have some entertainment out there, some craft vendors, some Christmas food items, things like Christmas cakes and sorrel and heavy cakes and the usual Cayman cuisine that'll be on sale out there. It's from 10 to 4 on the 15th. And Cara, here with us, has been making some special arrangements for some additional things that I'll ask her to talk about.
Yes, Cara?
Yeah, so we have the coin that's being released as well. So that's coming in. We have a Celebrate Cayman coat of arms coin. So it's with our logo and stuff in it, but I'm not going to reveal too much because we're having a big reveal of that. And we're having sales starting next week. So that you just need to stay tuned to social media and the papers and stuff so that you can know when you can come down and buy your coins. It's a limited edition of only 250 mints. And so they'll be going really fast, really quick, hopefully. I'm not sure the price yet because we haven't stated the price yet, but it'll probably be around the range of $100 per coin. What else do we have going on? We've been into the schools doing a lot of educational campaigns. So we've been visiting various schools doing presentations about the coat of arms, and the students and teachers have actually been embracing it, and we've been getting requests a lot to come into each classrooms and stuff to do basic presentations about using the coat of arms, and we've been using it as a platform about Cayman history. So that's one other item we've been doing. What else do we have?
Well, we are also doing the Cat Boat Club, I think, is involved with. Yes. That's what I was trying to jog your memory to speak about. If you want to do that, and then I'll come back.
So at the museum exhibit on the 15th, we'll have the road closed off. We'll have the vendors, like Mr. Alfonso mentioned. We're working with the Cat Boat Association to bring out a cat boat on the road. So there'll be Mr. Jarris Miller will be bringing out a boat right there to, for display and, a part of the festivities that day. And, and that whole ceremony and stuff will happen on the 15th.
The coin is a collaborative effort between Celebrate Cayman and SEMA. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's a $5 coin. And we were on this morning, and Debbie was here with us with Mr. Connor, who gave a bit of the particulars and some of the finer details of the coin. It'll go on sale early next week, is what we're thinking. Cara is correct. 250 coins were done. One coin stays with SEMA for its museum. So there's 249 that will be on sale. So people can reserve coins. There are collectors who would know how to do that, and they can call through the SEMA. SEMA controls the sales, not us. But we are telling people about it because it makes a wonderful gift for Christmas, So we want people to get involved. The price that estimation that David gave this morning was between $75 and $80 US is where I think we're going to be with it. So it's a little bit better price than what we were imagining. But it is. We've seen it. I can tell you that it's a wonderful coin. It's a silver coin with color in there. You'll be extremely proud of your coat of arms and what SEMA was able to do with that. So we want to thank them so much for working along with us. This is one of the more important things that has happened with Celebrate Cayman. We were able to do so many partnerships with different organizations, that are willing to work with us, people that are enthused and want to also do stuff with our coat of arms. I have to try and visit the hospital today because I've heard that their Christmas decorations, all the things that they've done at HSA, or with the coat of arms theme. You've been there?
You like it.
Oh my goodness! I went there for a meeting yesterday. Didn't know anything, and went up to the director's office, and saw their Christmas tree was looked like a coat of arms. It was a wonderful thing. So
it's inspiring a lot of people.
Well, that's the whole idea. That is working. So I want to get there today and have a look at that. But Dwayne, we want to encourage people to make time for the 15th to come out and celebrate with us at the museum. Get in the Christmas spirit. Lots of things for us to do. Really, some good, nice local Cayman music and food and some of the niceties of Christmas. Some of our local farm products and stuff will be out there.
Yeah. We do have a call online, as we have Ms. Carco, Mr. Alfonso right as our guests. We go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and your guests. Mr. Alfonso, calling about your festival that you're going to be having on the 15th. Are we going to be having Cayman style food, or are we just having hors d'oeuvres, or what kind of food are we having for that?
No. We're having Cayman style food. I can tell you one of the people that's cooking is Mr. Alvin McLaughlin from East End. You know what kind of food he cooks?
Yes, sir. Well, why I was calling, because I'm from the district of West Bay. I belong to Captain Dallas. We have some corn turtle.
Oh.
That we would be interested if you could be a part of it to have sell some.
No, I can't make you sell that. I want that myself.
Oh, you want me to cook it myself?
Yes. Here, I'm going to give you my phone number, and you can call me after we get off radio. 916-1499.
916.
1499.
Okay, no problem.
So right now we don't have anybody that's selling food from West Bay, so we'd be happy to have you be a part of that. So you give me a call after I get off here, and we'll make some arrangements for you.
Okay, sir, Mr. Alfonso.
Thanks for calling. Sure.
Okay. Thank you too. So really Cayman facilitates, communication, right?
I suppose you're looking commissions now.
No, sales got that covered, man. No, not a problem. See how we work? The power of radio, boy. But I must share the interest in corn turtle. Ray Bankham, from when we were doing our show not that long ago, he threw it out there. Where's the corn turtle? It's not readily available anymore. And every now and again, a little bit more coming to the fore.
Celebrate Cayman, coat of arms. We've inspired a lot of things, and corn turtle is something that I guess it must be 30, if not 35, even 40 years I haven't had corn turtle, so I'm looking forward to that. But we do there are some things that we've done that we at our launch event we had the blowing of the conch shell, and we also had, as part of the program, the Come Back Home to My Island song with Mr. Steve McTaggart. And we have rekindled interest in those two things. Every event that you have, not every event, but just about every event now you have, there's a blowing of a conch shell involved, or somebody's playing that Come Back to My Island song. And these are the things that we want to inspire, that we kind of get people to go back into the older Cayman and find these things that were important to them back then, and we start reusing them. And if we inspire people to want to sell corn turtle, I'd say kudos to Celebrate Cayman, whoever they are.
But this is, I think, where we look at it and we start to appreciate. As long as the historical record is accurate, we examine it respectfully and we ensure that, a century from now or 1,000 years, or people look at this thing, and it takes time. People still talk about the Normandy conquest in 1066, but you ask them, well, what happened, as Mr. Mika shared earlier, 8,500 years ago, or even, last year. We don't see it, People quickly remember September 11, right? But do they know 8 November, just a few months after? Mr. Alfonso? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And just to say, another milestone for us comes up on the 8th of this month. You shaking your head? You know what that is? No, I bet if you tell me. Well, the 8th of December 1958 was the date that Parliament accepted the motion to give women the right to vote. Now, they didn't get the right to vote right then. It was after the Constitution was passed later on. But that was the date that the vote was taken to give women the right to vote. So December 8th this year is another important milestone. It was interesting. I was looking at December and the different days because of birthdays and how those days translate with the historical record. And I've been looking at some people, so maybe it's 10th December that they were born, maybe it was 8th of December. And look at those individuals and you wonder, is sort of their life, indicative of the day they were born? And I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting little social experiment. My birthday is the 26th of September. That is about from December. Susan is. I like her chuckle. But this is it, right? December is a good month. December is a good month. December is always a good month for lots of good reasons. And this is something that I've said, and hopefully it hasn't offended too many people. But I always thought, that holiday that we introduced should have been September. Because of that importance of the month of September. Yeah. But now that it's your birthday, it could happen in this car. Well, I celebrate it. Somebody has to. And there are lots of us. There's probably about 10, 12 people that I know that September, actually the date, September 26th, is their birthdays. That's what it is, September. So there's something good about that day. You have my full, undivided, enthusiasm, and maybe we'll change it. We'll see. Right? Yeah. So visit the coat of arms display at Government Administration Building. It'll be there until we move it now to take it into West Bay. But also, we want to make that convenient for the Georgetown people, but also the people who visit Government Administration Building for business or meetings or anything else. Please go in and have a look at that. December 15th at the museum from 10 till 2. Some wonderful Christmas activities going on down there. We have the commemorative coin for Celebrate Cayman with a coat of arms on it. And also, Dwayne, I know you would know by now, the general public would know by now, that National Heroes Day next year, we will be honoring the 54 justices and vestrymen who were serving at the time that the coat of arms was created. They are going to be the honorees for National Heroes Day next year. So we're working feverishly on that, but it's a date that I also want people to mark down, to save, to come out and celebrate those people and their families, because we're I want to say fortunate, because we do have two of them that are still alive, Captain Owen Farrington and Mr. Lindbergh Eden. And yes, we'd love to have more, but I'm happy that at least we still have two of them. But nevertheless, we are going to recognize them posthumously, of course, the rest of them. But that's going to be a very important part of the Celebrate Cayman calendar, and a really nice event come National Heroes Day next year. Well, it's always a pleasure to not just talk to you, but to speak specifically about the Celebrate Cayman initiatives, and hopefully they continue to inspire all of us, not just Caymanians who have in their lineage, generation and generation. But those Caymanians who, may be swearing their allegiance next week or next month or next year. But all who've come here and want to make this their homes, that we have something that we can share with, and they feel as much a part of it as we do. So
we have our own history, and we're really proud of it.
And you guys are doing a great job to remind us, and also for some, inform us for the first times. Ms. Clara, thank you so much. You're incredible. You are indeed. You guys have a great team, a great chemistry, and Ms. Alfonso, thanks for mentoring Ms. Clara. She's a good lady.
Clara keeps me on the straight and narrow way.
I'm very quiet. I'm still here,
guys.
I'm very quiet.
No,
but,
don't believe that.
I'm just making sure he says everything correct.
You don't believe that. You believe Cara's quiet. Not in the least.
No, But no stress. Thank you.
We have a great team. Marzita and Christine are the other two members of our team, and we do have a great team. I'm grateful for that. It makes life so much easier when you are working with people who have a common interest, and people that are willing to put the time and effort in that's necessary to bring things to a successful ending.
So next Saturday,
thank you all very much. Yeah, next Saturday the 15th. Next week, buy your coin. Reserve your January 28th date for National Heroes Day next year.
All right, at the museum, and hopefully people will see. 10 days later will be Christmas Day, so what a better way to be a part of the spirit of Cayman and of Christmas. Have a wonderful rest of your week, Ms. Kari. Enjoy it, and thanks for keeping Ms. Alfonso informed on the street now. When we come back from a break, our good friends from the National Gallery and so patiently waiting, and they're going to join us again, another opportunity to show the great things that are happening within this small country, but so significant. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Give me the green light.
The Proud of Them Youth Recognition Program is accepting nominations, and the nomination period has been extended until December 12th due to a technical difficulty with the online nomination form. Now in its 10th round, the award recognizes 12 outstanding young people between the ages of 10 and 25 for their achievements in academics, careers, business, sports, culture, or community work. Nominate your choice for the prestigious Proud of Them Award by visiting www.gov.ky. Remember, the deadline has been extended and submissions must now be received by Wednesday, December 12th. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Education, Sports, Agriculture and Lands in partnership with the National Youth Commission.
Hopscotch Entertainment presents tribute to two of the island's greatest bands, Memory of Justice and Humble and the Meek, featuring special guest Freddie Jackson. Alongside special guest Naomi Cohen. This December 7th, 8 p.m. sharp at the Lion Center. Admission is free. Admission is totally free. Featuring special guests Rex and Impulse Band, Lammy Seymour, Edward Solomon, Regeneration Band, Molly and Brian, Gerald Rankin, Dexter Bodden, and Fire Squad. Donations are accepted. Sponsored by the Ministry of Culture, Miracle Brokers, Digicel, Radio Cayman, The Lobster Pot, JN Money Transfer, and the Cayman Islands Music Association. Freddie Jackson, live in concert, Friday, December 7th at the Lion Center.
Hello, I'm Arthur Ebanks.
And I'm Angela Ebanks, owners of Savannah Pharmacy.
On behalf of the entire Savannah Pharmacy family, we would like to wish all of our Cayman families a very Merry Christmas and safe and prosperous New Year.
Remember, we're always just around the corner in Countryside Shopping Village with everything your family needs this holiday season. We look forward to continuing to serve you and your loved ones throughout 2019.
You remember the sale at Vant Motors?
Yeah, the Your Sale, Your Choice. The one where you can get cash back or can put the savings to extend the warranty or upgrade features?
Yes, it's still going on. But now you can get $8,000 off a new Ford Ranger truck. $8,000, you know?
You for real?
Come see for yourself. While they still have so much to choose from, save big during Your Sale, Your Choice at Vant Motors. With almost every vehicle on sale, you decide whether to get your dream ride at its lowest price. Take cash back, add years to the warranty or service plan. Choose an add-on or mix your options. Your sale, your choice, because you know what you need, and Vant Motors will help you drive it home. Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
Oh, this Christmas, Kirk Freeport is wishing everyone peace, love, joy, and $40,000 in prizes. Win one of the multiple $5,000 and $1,000 cash prizes just for shopping at your favorite Kirk Freeport store. Purchases of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. There's even a Rolex watch prize draw on January 2nd, and loads of other great prizes. Peace, love, joy, and the island's biggest Christmas sweepstakes. Only from Kirk Freeport. Full details on kirkfreeport.com. Merry Christmas from Kirk Freeport.
Retain your peace of mind by installing a reliable generator, knowing that your family is safe and secure during a power outage. At Corporate Electric, we care about the well-being of our customers and their loved ones. We are the official distributor of Kohler SDMO generators in the Cayman Islands and can conduct a free assessment of your house to suggest the perfect fit. Call us at 946-2277. Visit our website or the Facebook page for more details.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord.
United in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the land.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. He's a name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we gonna put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And again, a special welcome to our good friends from the National Gallery. And again, we talk about timeliness and the like, and I commend it to you for not just the patience and the resolve, but that wonderful, respectful nature. And for joining us this afternoon, we have National Gallery, Mr. Simon Tatum. And if I got my notes correctly, you're the assistant curator.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. And the wonderful presence of Miss Jessica Ebanks now as the education coordinator, right?
Yeah, thank you for having us.
No, it is a pleasure. I think when we look at, say, the National Gallery or the National Museum, and we start to recognize how important it is for our society to have institutions like this for our own people to be as invested, as involved, and for the country to feel as invited, as included, so that we go, whether we become members, whether we attend exhibits, whether we perhaps on an afternoon just take some time and stroll. I say that because I was reflecting on a conversation with a friend who is about to leave his sort of childhood home, as it were, and he's going to be gone for a while doing certain things. And he said, the strangest thing, what he spent the last few weeks doing. He's from a big part of the world with millions of people and all sorts of hustling and bustling. Was the little places, and the parks, little particular gallery and one little promenade, I guess, that he would go to. And just move about those places. Mm-hmm. They've been there, in his instance, for a long, long, long time. But there were places that he visited now and again, but was drawn to.
Yeah, just little places that made the community what it was, I guess.
That is it, and that hub, and I think that's what we want. And when there is, as there are now at the National Gallery, so many exhibits, and we get to see different things, and it means a lot. But then we get to appreciate the amount of work put into bringing that, so that we as a people can just go and enjoy it. It's not unlike sitting at a dinner table and they just spent sometimes lots of days preparing for, and you just go and you partake. But do you really, really sit and savor? Right, Mr. Simon?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Nice,
Pull that mic closer to you, my friend, because Susan is a musician. Yeah,
perfect.
Just bring it this way and then lean right into it. I'm going to try something. Right? Slip it over closer, and then we're going to try singing. La, come on, la la la. And your mom is going to call me and go, "Now, why you did that, boy?" No, but this is. Thank you for playing along. This is what I think makes us who we are. What makes it fun? You were here early and you heard the caller when Miss Alfonso was on. Making connections, I think that's what radio and Radio Cayman specifically is. But to be able to sit here and as a people, and what is the grandmother thinking? Oh, I've never been to the gallery. Maybe the grandchild can take them across and be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And that's what we try and do at the gallery is, make programs and exhibitions that can be enjoyed by everyone in the community, whether that be through educational programs, so opportunities for children to enjoy art classes, or evening discussions for adults in the community as well, or inviting senior groups to come in. So we want it to be a space where everyone feels welcome into and can get something out of it. Everyone doesn't have to have the same experience at the gallery, but they can have a unique experience, and we can tailor these opportunities to different members in the community.
I think sometimes we have a perception that when we go to places like galleries and the like, that we have to dress a certain way, we have to look a certain way, we have to. Hopefully that's not the case, because that's not my perspective. But you go and you look at it, and if it's the permanent collection or it's a new exhibition, you just look at it and you leave. Maybe you get lost in the time, as I sometimes do, and an hour or two will pass and you gotta get back to work. Or you were just there because there's one piece that caught you and you want to go back and look at it again.
Right.
The fact that we can walk in almost unfeathered, there's no turnstiles, there's no card access, there's no fee, so to speak.
Yeah.
Other places not so easy.
Yeah, and we really want it to be a community organization and a community institution. So we try and make it as accessible as possible. We don't charge admission. Most of our programs and panel discussions and evening talks and film screenings and things like that are free. We get a lot of support, so we're able to make these programs accessible to as many people in the community.
Now, tell us about some of the things that are ongoing now. I know that from the press releases and from the other information that we get, not just to have to prepare for a discussion, but just as a somewhat informed member of the community, by no means universal and not exhaustive. But what's happening, and in particular, the LLR exhibition. But Simon, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll jump on board. So the gallery with its exhibitions try to be as accessible as possible as well. And so we've had several different themes that have gone through the 2018 and now going into 2019 year. We just wrapped up a project, The Art of Fashion, which we got two fashion designers, Cayman fashion designers, Izzy B and Joara Lane, to make new outfits based off artworks in the permanent collection, which brought in a new audience and sometimes a younger audience into the gallery that might not usually visit. So that was really great. And now when we're going forward with December, we're opening up two new exhibitions that will be the Traces exhibition, which are artworks created by 6 different art instructors that are based out of Cayman. And then also the L Letter project, so that's called The Photographer is Present. And so these are a collection of photographs that have been kept in the Cayman National Archives. And now we're bringing them out and putting them on display. They're rarely put on display, and kind of giving due to a photographer, Miss Ella Latter, who was working primarily between the 1930s and 1960s, and just kind of showing some of the things that she captured during those moments working as a freelance photographer. And so we'll see lots of things from older traditional portraits, and then also her documenting different events that were happening in the community, to landscapes that she captured as well that were kind of published in different magazines. So it'll be very exciting for people to see, and we'll also kind of open up a conversation for different crowds who might be interested in seeing some traditional images like that, or retracing Cayman culture through photographs.
The thing is, as you shared, we know that National Archive, I recall an exhibition way back when, a collaboration between the archive and the gallery, at its previous home on the waterfront there.
Right.
But photography, there's something about it. Even if you're an amateur photographer or a professional, that image that you capture tells a story, and it's like the balance sheet of the company. As at that time, this is what transpired. But 4 decades later, 7 decades later, a century or more, if that photograph is still there and you reference it and you go back and, is that place and event still taking place, still existing? Or what has changed, from the dress to the practice?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes his exhibition so interesting, is because photography is primarily, in the way that it's used, it has a very specific kind of documentary function. And so to be used in Cayman, especially in kind of seeing so many changes within the culture happening with development of tourism. So going from like the 1930s into the 1960s, where a lot of these photographs are being taken, within Ella Latter's collection, you're seeing a lot of shifts happening within the community. So like you said, shifts in dress or shifts in certain social events that were happening, or even the way that people looked or presented themselves in front of cameras. And another interesting thing about this is that Ella Latter's collection that's in the archive go beyond just photographs that were taken by her. So we'll see some photographs that are coming from her father as well, like child portraits that he had taken that were going back into the late 1800s. And so we're going to see a big shift from the way that people presented themselves in front of cameras and camera technology then versus going into the 1960s, late 1960s, where Ella Latter's practice kind of takes place.
And the idea, too, that when we look at Cayman, and there's necessarily maybe a reawakening, but perhaps an awareness that, wow, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know we had, what is a photograph, or somebody wrote something. Correct. There's something of historical record, and it may confirm a belief or this thing that was shared orally, or it may dispel it.
Yeah.
But being able to reference it, right, Jessica?
Yeah. And I think that's what's really interesting about this project as well, this collaboration between the archives and the gallery, because like Simon said earlier, most of these photos haven't been on public display before. And so they've been, cared for and restored by the National Archives. And so it's through this project that they're actually going to be brought out into the community. And I think that'll be interesting because I've, seen some of the images. I've gotten a sneak peek from Simon. And, it references some important events like when Prince Philip visited Cayman, and certain things even like when buildings were being built. So the government commissioned Miss Latter to take photographs of building documentations and boat launches and things like that. So you can look at the photographs and say, oh, okay, that's the old post office in Georgetown, and it's so interesting how town looks so different now, built up around it. And so that's what I think it'll be interesting for people to come and see and make those comparisons about how how Cayman has changed, or maybe some similarities that they still see, some buildings that they recognize.
The question, the more things change, the more they stay the same, or is it completely different? Right? You'll be able to compare the here and the now. Simon, if I could respectfully ask you, as the curator for this, you're going through, you're spending countless hours, you're sifting through photographs. This one or this one, put it here or there. Share with us that whole curatorial process.
Yeah. It takes some time to kind of organize and kind of create a theme, and especially with kind of documenting photographs, you really want to kind of add something and kind of create a story with what's available, but being honest and being just kind of representing what's the material that's available in the best way possible. And so what's kind of happened with this exhibition is we kind of split it up based off of certain themes that were addressed by Miss Latter herself in an oral history interview that she had with the archives back in 1990. And so we're looking at things like portraits and referencing her passport portrait practice that was taking place. And then we're also looking at family portraits that affected the way that she created certain compositions, portrait compositions. We're seeing documentary photographs that are kind of spanning over a certain amount of time. And then we're also, again, as Jessica addressed earlier, going back and we're seeing some of the images of different boats that came into harbor and certain architectural structures that she photographed specifically for the government, for government commission for the Blue Books, or during that time when they were keeping annual records of those things. And so that's kind of how I split it up, is kind of based it off of what Miss Ella has addressed within the oral history, because I think that's very important. And then we're also, the archives have been great with working with us, and we're making available a segment of that oral history within the gallery, so people can actually hear Miss Ella and hear her speak about her practice, and then go and kind of explore the gallery and see some of the images that she was referring to.
And it's for us to benefit from it from coming out. We'll talk more about that, but I just remind you to take a short break. When we come back, Simon Taylor and Jessica Ebanks will continue to share with us about the National Gallery. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Is this thing working? Give me some sound over here.
Every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show for your radio, featuring Will Sinatra.
Now, sound is everything.
Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, reggae, and calypso, and an entertainment trivia section. The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of the Cayman Islands Football Association. CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And in the studio, a good company of Mr. Simon Tatum together with Miss Jessica Ebanks. And as we talk about the National Gallery, now I enjoy it. I hopefully it doesn't create a problem for you, but I see the people when they come back and not the maze, but what do we call it? Just step back there and take a walk through it, but come inside equally. And it doesn't have to be a hot day outside that you're escaping heat, but it's something about it. You don't need to be an artist or any sort of special individual. It's just a place to recognize that it makes a community stronger. Mm-hmm. We do have a call online.
Sure.
As you go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, host Mr. Sterling Dwayne. Welcome back again.
Hey, good afternoon.
I'd like to extend welcome to our new emerging voices at the National Gallery, Sam Tatum and Jessica Ebanks. Thank you very much for invaluable contribution to being the protectors of our cultural fabric.
Mm-hmm.
The National Gallery can only go strength to strength with your being involved. The project that you're involved in holds my significant interest because of my perpetual curiosity about Cayman photography. Mm-hmm. And it also, from a historical point of view, it is going to be another peep at another part of our Caymanian cultural picture from the rear view, which has never been exposed, which is always a great thing. Our association with the National Archives is invaluable. There's a treasure trove of resource that we are going to have to work hard at trying to translate into being viewed by the public, and the National Gallery, I think, would be a great partner in doing so. I'm greatly heartened to watch these two youngsters take their rightful places in this part of our community. They are, it's important to commend them because they are choosing, despite the fact that they have intellect that can be monetized elsewhere. They're choosing to allow themselves to be part of Cayman's development this way. And it is not because of financial gain, I can assure you. But I thank them very much for their commitment and their sacrifice, their contribution. I'd like to encourage them because the best is yet to come, and a lot of it is going to be coming from them. Simon is also an artist, and we're watching this space. He's a Borden Towner.
Yes.
So we're very proud of the fact that he carries a lot of history, and that's going to be translated into our cultural scene from an artistic point of view. I can just imagine what he's got planned, considering he's just scratching the surface of his grandma's treasure trove of historical reservoir. So thank you very much for allowing me to thank them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thanks very much, man. And I'm glad the caller picked up on that, because I alluded to it earlier. We need to have this very, very strong, not just respect, but an appreciation for the arts, and to understand that there are going to be those who are gifted, like you guys. There will be those who are going to be willing to sacrifice financially, so to speak, the skill, this ability, this intellect that could be elsewhere and be appreciated and be rewarded and remunerated. But in our society, what are we doing for those people so that they are becoming sort of the historians and the keepers of the culture? So it's important. But Ms. Jessica, from the idea, you're working alongside, you're doing your part equally in relation to it, and as you sort of look at these exhibitions, whether it's the Tracy's, I think it's most of a lot of our high school teachers are teachers.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in the historical collection of photographs as well. Ms. Jessica?
Yeah. I think it's important, like I was saying earlier, just to, I don't know, I get a lot of fulfillment, I guess, out of seeing how different people come into the gallery space and use it as they wish and as they so choose, through the various programs that we offer. And I think, it's important to be relevant and encourage people from all walks of life to explore the exhibitions. And as it's neat for me, I think, too, that I get to learn alongside these exhibitions as they develop, because earlier this year we had a underwater photography exhibition on called Coral Encounters. And so we got to learn tons about, the important work that's being done by organizations like CCMI and other community partners who partnered with us for the exhibition and kind of shared their expertise about ocean conservation and coral reef protection. And we got to open up new audiences in that way by hosting that exhibition. And of course, with shows like this, with the Ella Ladder photography exhibition, that'll bring in a different group of people who are interested in that subject matter. And so it's neat to see it opening up to new members of the community.
But that's the thing, sometimes, and maybe it's for some they may say, you're reaching, but I don't think so. The idea that what I see with exhibitions and the programming at the gallery is that it's not just the traditional sense of what is art. You're talking about, coral, the research, the importance to the economy. We could, without stretching it, make connections to the economic impact, the environmental consequence, the need that through that you have science. Now, I know from the perspective of the schools that come in, one particular tour, through the gallery for an exhibition results in countless lessons, not just because of the curriculum that you provide. And as a teacher, as a parent, you see the benefits and the interest.
Yeah, and we try and make sure that, for our offerings and our tours and things like that, we don't want to present this idea that art or creativity or culture is separate from the rest of life. It's not a separate subject matter. Life isn't divided into subjects, really, so it is all integrated. And you can use art as a starting point to talk about plenty of other subjects and themes. And it's a gateway. It's not, a separate thing that should be kind of categorized as maybe not as important as these other subjects. I think it can be a beautiful way of, emerging a lot of different topics for exploration.
And that's the thing, Sam. I think, as the caller referenced, you as an artist, and whether it's your look at our cemeteries and the like, for the anthropologists, they may say, well, Cayman is doing something that they may, in their minds, think is perhaps a practice more over here in this part. Or when we look at the Cayman Islands in particular, we do something in one part of the country differently than it's done, but yet, they're stones throw apart.
Yeah.
Why is that? And there's so much that the arts can bring to the fore. When we come back from our news break, could we ask you more about some things you talked about in relation to the changes in a lot of exhibitions,
Sure.
other things, and get into those things. I'll open the door. You feel free to walk through, to stop and to look around, maybe not enter. Hey, decide. If it's not a safe, welcoming place, don't come. If it is, share as open and as freely as you want.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. We'll get that.
All right, perfect, man. To our listeners, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Be a part of a discussion when we return. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The 2018 hurricane season is officially behind us. Although Cayman escaped unscathed for the 10th year in a row, the season did live up to predictions. A total of 16 depressions were formed, 15 developed into storms, 8 of which became hurricanes, while 2 went on to be major hurricanes. They claimed an estimated 154 lives and racked up more than $33 billion in damages. Hurricane Michael, a Category 4 storm, was the strongest system this season. Michael claimed 60 lives and cost $15 billion worth of damages. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Russia will develop missiles banned under a Cold War agreement if the U.S. exits the pact, President Vladimir Putin has warned. His comments follow NATO's accusation on Tuesday that Russia has already broken the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. A satanic group has added its own statue to a series of displays in the government building of the U.S. state of Illinois to mark the festive season. Placed between a Christmas tree and a menorah, the 4-foot sculpture depicts a snake coiled around an outstretched arm holding an apple. It's the first display sponsored by the Chicago chapter of the Temple of Satan. And what's white? Sheer and 75 feet long. Priyanka Chopra's wedding veil. The Bollywood star, who married U.S. singer Nick Jonas in Rajasthan state over the weekend, unveiled her intricately detailed wedding dress in an Instagram post today. The Ralph Lauren designed gown had more than 2 million mother-of-pearl sequins sewed into it, but it was the veil that stole the show. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us as we have from the National Gallery, Mr. Simon Tatum, the Assistant Curator, together with his colleague, Ms. Jessica Ebanks, the Education Coordinator, and with the new exhibitions that are going to be coming online. And I must share, you guys do a lot. Sometimes I sit and it's a new exhibition, but you do not only do a lot of different and new exhibitions, throughout the year,
right.
But when you have them up, for the most part, they're up for a little while. As busy as we are, we can still get there and maybe see it twice if we're lucky, but at least see it once, right?
Yeah.
But Simon, you will share with us where are we going to go now with our discussion?
I think now we'll just. I would like to touch on the other exhibition that's going to be happening during the same time as the Eldorado project.
Traces?
The Traces exhibition, which is our instructors, and then we can talk about what's coming up into the new year for the gallery, because there's lots of exciting things coming up. So the Ella Ladder project and the Traces project will be kind of having a simultaneous opening on the 10th of December, and then we'll run to the 24th of January. So they'll be up for a little bit more than a month, and both will kind of be giving different views. And so the Ella Ladder is definitely a photography exhibition, and we'll be kind of wrapping up our different photography shorts that we've been doing this year, so that'll be the fourth one. And we'll kind of introduce a certain type of media to the gallery or through a different format, because before we've been doing more contemporary works like the choral encounters, but this is kind of more looking back as archival photography and thinking about that material back then. And then with the Traces exhibition, it'll be a very diverse room as far as what kind of works are being introduced. So we'll have video works, we'll have installation, painting, sculpture, ceramics, all sorts of things kind of involved within that. And with that exhibition as well, we're going to have the 6 art educators kind of speaking about the development of their practice, but then they're relating it to how they relate to their students. And so they'll be talking about the curriculum that they set for their students and how certain goals or certain things that they try to teach their students they'll take on as kind of the compass in their own art making.
And when we look at the sort of the national art curriculum in the sense, and there are some of us, we enjoyed art and whatever facet was in school, and there were some of us we thought, it's a free period, we didn't do anything, right? We tried hard to avoid it. But at the end of the day, if you give the child the opportunity to sit, to explore, to be creative, to be able to do something without a sense of being judged, that could instill in them a confidence. It could cause them to explore a potential career. And given where we are now, in sort of this new economy, as it were, our children need to be able to have that sense of freedom and confidence.
Yeah.
Ms. Jessica?
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting to see, even with this exhibition as well, the Traces exhibition, so all of the featured artists are art teachers as well, art educators, but they themselves have very diverse backgrounds as well. So we've got, Sarah McDougall, who has a background in theatre costume and design. And so she takes a textiles approach to her work. So she's displaying, her handmade textiles and that kind of fashionable costume aspect of it. Whereas we've got Claire Musser, who does graphic design. She has a graphic design background, so she kind of has this digital approach to the subject matter too. So even within, an exhibition like this, where they're all essentially have the same profession now, art educators, I think it's important to show that that's not a monolithic it's not a monolithic title in and of itself. So there's different routes and avenues that you can go down and interpret these. So they're all kind of working from the same curriculum, but they themselves and their artistic practices have taken it in different ways. So
and they've branched off in it as well, depending on what schools they're involved in. So we have represented Clifton Hunter, John Gray, and then also SciFec. And so with the SciFec program, which would be like Sarah McDougall and Claire Musser, they're really creating works with their students, and the curriculum they set for their students is very much thinking about client-based work. So you're creating a portfolio based off of certain clients you want to present these kind of works for advertising or different purposes. And then when you kind of go into more the curriculum for Clifton Hunter High School and for John Gray, you're looking at instructors who are designing their work and teaching students how to design portfolios for themselves, individual portfolios, where they come up with an idea, come up with a concept, and they do writing for that, and then they go and revisit the artworks and create the artworks and go back and forth between the writing and the artworks to kind of create this personal portfolio that they can then use to apply for different programs abroad. And instructors represented with that would be people like Lorna Reed, Kerwin Ebanks, Carrie Ann Brown, and then June South Robinson.
As I listen to you, recognizing too that our students are given these opportunities, and a gallery is so accessible. You're talking about the digital aspect. I recall reading recently sort of those engineers and the like who are in this era where they're using computers, whether for as CAD and otherwise. And then there's some, even they may be their contemporaries or they may be their mentors, who still prefer the pencil and the paper drawing and how do you meld the two? And does one sort of replace the other? Jessica?
I don't know. I think there's room for both.
Mm.
I mean, I think it would be pretty. It'd be pretty interesting and maybe not quite wise move to totally go into the digital and forget the analog or handmade way of doing things. But I think there's room for all. There's room for both, and there's important aspects where each can be used.
And I guess in a sense too, is a lot like the author who may prefer to sit, let's say, at a keyboard, whether that's a typewriter or other process, and produce that draft, or the one that may want to do it, audio, or have someone else transcribe it, or may still write it with a pen or something, and go back to it. There's a process, and being able to have that, right?
Yeah, and I think even just thinking about the exhibitions that we've had this year at the gallery, and it showcases the beauty and the diversity of, the digital art forms. We've had a lot of photography this year, but then also the handmade with the fashion exhibition we just had, featuring these amazing handmade creations by 2 Caymanian designers. So, yeah.
Simon, for the public, that it's Christmas, and people are going to be looking for things to do, in a sense, right? And for me, the most valuable commodity is the one that's probably the most abused. It's time. Right. I think spending time at the gallery is time well worth it. But for them, what are you hoping and what are you expecting as they come through and see the exhibitions?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're hoping. As we touched on in the beginning, we are always trying to be as accessible as possible, and so the gallery has very flexible hours of being open Mondays through Saturday from 10 a.m. through to 5 p.m. And we're just hoping, especially during the holidays when people are getting a break from school or getting a break from work, that they'll come by and they'll look at the exhibitions and they'll kind of enjoy the gallery space and appreciate the different projects that we're trying to put on for them, but then also keeping an eye on the gallery space afterwards as well for things that are coming up in the new year. Because like we were saying, we have lots of different projects that are kind of constantly changing within our 3 different exhibition spaces. And I mean, in the new year as well, we're going to be doing a project, the biannual project, which will open up towards the end of January and go through to April. And we'll be looking at contemporary art, especially so practicing artists that are working within the field now, and look at kind of the best visual practices that are being involved in Cayman. And so just keeping people energized about the space and not thinking in it as a stagnant place, but understanding that there's always different things that you can come and see and you can come and revisit.
No, stagnant is not.
Yeah.
I enjoy the Labyrinth as much as some.
Right, yeah.
But it's stagnant is not, right?
Yeah.
But Jessica?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add too, so I think Simon mentioned earlier, but we're going to be doing an exhibition opening evening this Monday the 10th. So both of these exhibitions are going to be on an opening celebration from 6 to 8 p.m. on Monday the 10th, and we'll also be having some featured artisans there as well, so selling their goods, so locally made craft items and products. So you can come and enjoy the exhibition openings and do some local shopping as well.
Hey, how many people I know that don't enjoy shopping? I don't know. That must be an art in itself, right. Or is it a science? But again, being able to have that level of access, being able to get involved and connected to people that, in time, who knows where and what, this thing that they're doing is going to impact. And there are going to be some who are going to see the photographs of Islata and recognize, oh, that's my, and there's going to be this connection.
Yes.
And then, wouldn't it be great if in that audience there's someone very young who says, oh, I didn't know you knew. What would that inspire? How would that be? Fast forward a century forward, that young person now maybe, who knows? That's where we look for posterity.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's like Simon almost showcases that with his own practice too, because here he is and he's choosing to go down to the archives and revisit these works that he's never been exposed to before as well. So it's this nice collaboration between these historical works and then bringing it to light in a new way, and hopefully we can inspire people to do the same.
Inspire people to use the archives as a research tool. And I mean, we've been trying to highlight that with the titles for the artworks that are in the exhibition, that they have their kind of original XGDI code numbers, which are like direct references within the archives. So you can take the title of that artwork with you, and you can just kind of find it in a database at the archive. And if you want to look more into it and continue research, by all means, we're trying to encourage that. And like you were saying earlier, with those images being on display too, they also kind of affect younger audiences thinking about how documentary photography has a place within Cayman history and hopefully within the contemporary realm as well. So people thinking about how documentary photographs is affecting what's going on today, and so keeping that practice alive as well.
I think photographs maybe for many of us an easier reference. Maybe we only pull them out on special occasions or particular times, but when we do, you get to see similarities, you get to see the significance when things change. But at the end of the day, if they're not preserved in a space like the gallery, an institution like the archives, being able to collaborate, we get the wider public a chance to see it. These photographs from many of us, we've probably never seen them. There may be some who, I kind of remember that. I may have, but that was way back then. But certainly not in this facet, right, Ms. Jessica?
Yeah, absolutely. And even, I don't want to, ruin the show or give too much away, but there was some aspects of Cayman's history that I weren't even really aware of, and then I saw photographs of them that are going to be on display, and I had the opportunity to, oh wow, this was in Cayman and that happened, oh my gosh. And so that was interesting for me too, and I hope that the audiences have the same kind of experience, can learn a little bit more.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that because, and I say it to him all the time, Ray Banker, not just the artist, but the incredible intellect, and he's done some, I call it research, and I don't think he understands, how much work is involved in it because he enjoys it so much. But to be able to discover that Captain Blythe was here physically, a decade earlier than we were saying, on the shows, speaking to what we call our governor at the time, passing along a plant that is so important, and yet are we going to substantiate that, make sure that our historical record is as accurate? Well, the photography that you're going to exhibit for us is going to help us to appreciate it. Those new scenes that we didn't know isn't just for the young generation, but it'll be for many that either confirms or dispels. When we come back from our final break, as we revisit our conversation, maybe share more with us, Simon, Jessica, invite the public and remind us of the importance of the arts, but the gallery as well. For those who are listening, if you want to share, 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Getting ready for Christmas is all about the finishing touches.
The icing on the cake, the table neatly set, decorations specially placed, and gifts thoughtfully wrapped, all to share with those we love.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Brit K, where people come first.
Brit K's offices close at noon, December 24th and 31st.
Visit britk.ky.
A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square, enjoy a Broadway show or visit museums, the Empire State Building, and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Stay connected and share your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Pick up the Alcatel A1 from $70 or the Samsung J2 Pro, packed with sweet features from $130. Every week you can win cash and prizes in our Cash Cube when you top up. Also check out our weekly top-up specials. Visit Flow's Facebook and Instagram pages to follow the deals. Plus, top up $25 or more for plenty chances to win great Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today, and thanks so much for joining us. And if our guests don't mind me saying, I honestly want again to compliment both you, not just as individuals, not just as artists, but for your willingness thus far to, sharing your intellect, your enthusiasm, the energy, with our people, and as we look at what the National Galleries and what arts can be, for spending time there. And hopefully, as a society, we show equal deference and appreciation and encourage you to, stay the course. It's not always easy. So, where the path takes you may it always be a prosperous, safe, blessed one. But as we talked to Simon Tatum and Jessica Ebanks, the gallery for some is an easy place. For some of us we cross it every day because it's just there.
Mm-hmm.
Others it's, that's going to SPA, that's a little too far. But it's worth the trip, man. It's worth it. And with these new exhibitions coming up, maybe first, Ms. Jessica, what is it that we should know about? Why you attend? I mean, other than the obvious, but why would you attend if you were to say to people? Why would you say?
Yeah, I think it doesn't have to be, a place where you need to spend all day or feel like you need to look at every single piece on display and study it for hours. It can just be a part of your life if you want to pop in for 10 minutes and just sit in the gardens and appreciate the surroundings, and that's great. Or if you're specifically looking to see one piece that you heard about, then that's great too. There's no admission charge, so you can come and go how often as you'd like. And also we try and encourage audience engagement by hosting different events and educational programs and things like that. So, we've had a lot of great lectures by different artists and photographers and community members this year, and we hope to continue that with these two new exhibitions as well. And we'll do, family fun days to get families enjoying the space on a Saturday morning and things like that. So we do try and, create different opportunities that cater to different audiences to try and encourage everyone to come in and enjoy it in a different way.
And I hope that if it's not inappropriate, but even upstairs in the product collection, people can come and look at it. And there are a couple of pieces there that sometimes I'll just pop upstairs and look at it.
Yeah.
Use an excuse to walk the stairs to get a few steps in. And I look at these people, at these pieces, and I have questions. I haven't verbalized them, hopefully, nobody. But they're just questions that ruminating in my mind. I keep looking at them and thinking, And who knows? One day I may have an answer, that satisfies me. But you go back and, as you said, look at that piece again and again. Maybe one or two pieces, you may be thinking about it from a perspective. But same with the exhibitions, you see that thing.
Yeah.
Right, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we also address with students when we're giving them tours, we're very lucky to have so many cultural organizations in a small community. But for students, especially who are coming on school tours and stuff, some of the things we like to tell them is that, there's not very many places on island that you go just to kind of look at things or to experience learning through kind of visual interactions or audio interactions or things along that lines. And just see something unusual out of the ordinary of your basic routine. And so, I think in that way, the gallery is also valuable just to kind of think about that, to come see certain artworks, to see certain projects that are going in and out of the space, and to kind of learn something and experience a space that you don't usually have access to, or don't usually, or just kind of to break your regular routine.
And that's something, that we say to, teenagers, if they come in on a field trip with their class, then we say, it doesn't have to just be with class that you come in here. If you think the artwork is interesting and you want to spend more time sketching in the galleries, you're welcome to do that. We have an art library that you can access as well. So just trying to encourage them to feel like it's a good resource for them and it's something that they don't have to just come to with school. You can come and just enjoy the gallery and learn more on your own and talk to any of our staff who can answer any more of your questions.
And you guys are always, inviting and accommodating. And, sometimes you see people, generally speaking, just milling about. They're not loitering. They're taking it in. And you don't have to be one of the evenings. You just come on your own. A few minutes between, appointments, as it were. Maybe you just want to spend a little lunchtime in Dodge. And now it's even more accessible, more convenient. Now, Saturday hours as well, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
correct.
Saturday, same hours, 10 till 5 every Saturday. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're going to be
imagine.
doing slightly shorter hours during the week of Christmas, but we'll still be open majority of the Christmas holidays. I think those days will be closing at 3 instead of 5. But
Yeah, well, I always believe, between at least the 23rd, 24th until about the 4th or 5th of January, it should be a national go slow. Give our essential services even an opportunity to spend time with family, because all the artists and working have done most places, most people, they want to be able to relax that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's for us to be safe and to do so, but that's when another time. But for this, the members and prospective members come out and be a part of the gallery, watch the exhibition. Yes, it is on until the 24th of January, but 2 blinks and it'll be December again next year.
yeah, true.
So you'll easily miss it. And that has happened to me. I've seen a few exhibitions that I know that's on for another couple of weeks. No, that was taken on last night. Oops, I was going to go this weekend. So it happens.
Yeah, it does.
And don't
Just
miss
come
it.
with-
And we try to keep information as accessible as possible as well. So we use different avenues. I mean, from press releases, from our website and our Facebook page. So there's different ways to kind of keep an eye on what's happening around the gallery. And we encourage people to kind of, just check it out when you're on Facebook or something along that lines and see what's going on.
I was toying with asking you, and I really don't feel obligated to answer, because I don't want to spoil, as Miss Jessica say, spoiler alert. So it should be a disclaimer. But as you're going through these photographs, and as you're putting together the different things for this particular exhibition, is there anything particular that struck you and you thought, I didn't know that, or that confirms? So you can speak to it if you want and to whatever extent. But was there anything that really, really caught your attention?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that inspired us to go forward with partnering with the archive to do this project was just this Miss Latter herself was just such a significant presence within the community, and so well known and referred to people. And so to see her practice and to know that she was kind of this primary woman within the community and one of the, is kind of the first photographer to create a business out of her practice on island. And to be working during that time, I thought that was just kind of phenomenal. And to hear her kind of take up the business, starting first by learning how to print and develop photographs, and then going forward and making her own, I think that's just incredibly valuable for people within the community to see, to be able to remember and reflect back on these significant figures that have played a role in shaping what our community looks like and what our history looks like because of what they've contributed.
And I appreciate you because I was thinking along the similar lines in that many people, talking to some students just recently, and they were sharing that, back then, my words, almost like a frontier line. Yeah, but you didn't have this. So if you were the first person to have a dress shop, or you're the first person, or you're the first person that had this. And I said, well, recognize that back then, money wasn't freely, circulating the economy. The population wasn't that large. So yeah, these people paved the way, but if you fast forward to today, the opportunities for you, you can still be the first, or you can be, better at this thing than your next competitor. Mm-hmm. The beauty of it is that your competitor, as is your resources, not just down the road, but is global. And so being inspired by what was accomplished back then with the challenges that they had should remind us of the opportunities that we have now and how much more inclined we should be to contribute. Right, Jessica?
Yeah, I agree. And Cayman is still growing and changing so much all the time. And there's, I grew up between here and Canada, and so coming back to Cayman after university in Canada made me realize how much opportunity there is still within Cayman, because it's not like everything's been done before already. so I think there is definitely a lot of opportunity still for people to be maybe not the first, but to create something that isn't very common on island.
And I think too that this photography should give us a chance, both as parents, but also as younger people, to look and to see where we were, the transformations that have sort of occurred, where we are now, and potential what exists. And there are a couple of things that I think I remember, seeing of some of our photographs way back when, that I can be looking forward to say, okay, is that there? And even if it isn't, there's going to be little segments that reflect on it. I'm thinking a lot of the buildings and the places and some of the people that she's photographed, and they're like, I haven't had the privilege of, Miss Jessica here seeing a little preview, but I'm looking forward.
Yeah, after the show, if you feel encouraged to see the rest of them, I mean, we're showing about 40 images out of a large portfolio of over 200 images. So if you're interested in what you see, then please, go back to the archives and keep on looking.
And this is where we have to go. We do say thanks to the gallery and the archive for the partnership.
Absolutely.
The people, for the most part, we don't realize the resources that we have here, and the effort that is expended to ensure that it's preserved, not just for tomorrow, but for centuries, as has been the case thus far. Closing thoughts, Mr. Simon, Ms. Jessica?
Closing thoughts. Well, again, I just want to do a reminder about the opening reception for both of these exhibitions, Traces and the Ella Ladder Photography Exhibition. That'll be this Monday, so December 10th at the gallery from 6 till 8 p.m. All are welcome to come and enjoy and view the exhibition. And thank you, Sterling, for having us on. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Well, it's always, for me, a distinct pleasure. It gives us a chance to grow, as an individual, but it also reminds us that we have so much here that we take for granted, so much here that we don't even realize that we have. And oftentimes we focus on the negative, even if we don't deliberately mean to. So it's good to see so much positive. And again, individuals like yourselves, encourages us, because they see the future to be so bright. Hopefully, I get a chance to see the exhibit and more than once.
Yes. See you soon.
Enjoy your week. I'll see you very soon.
Thank you
very much.
All right. To our listeners, I think tomorrow is Thursday. I don't know. I still feel it's Monday, but Susan told me no, it's Thursday because she's excited about Friday. Friday she gets cake. You going to share, right, Susan? No. She might. She said, have a witness. Come back tomorrow for our talk today right after the midday news and midday meditation, hoping to have the good company of Mr. Gordon Solomon. So stay tuned. And for all of Susan's good music and programming, if you got a special request, call. She'll actually play it for you. If you're lucky, she might even sing it. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.